We have all seen many portraits of specific royals over the generations. More often than not, these portraits were commissions requested by the monarchs themselves. As history has shown us, many monarchs had high egos and were self-conscious, so it is a real challenge to decipher what they may have truly looked like as real-life living human beings. Today, we will try to uncover that and get some very interesting results in what we may call potential true likenesses. The further back in time we go, the availability of higher quality portraits becomes sparse, so the plan is to cross-reference as many portraits of each monarch as we can and hopefully get a close to photorealistic image. We will begin our exploration to uncover the true faces of the monarchy by starting with one of the most popular families in British royal history, the Tudors. So of course we must begin with Henry VII, the first monarch of this influential English family. Born Henry Tudor in 1457, he was the son of Edmund Tudor and Margaret Beaufort. His ascent to power was a turning point in English history, marked by the Battle of Bosworth Field in 1485. This pivotal battle ended the Wars of the Roses, a series of civil wars between the rival houses of Lancaster and York. By defeating Richard III, Henry secured his claim to the throne and was crowned Henry VII. So what did he actually look like? We have a few images to work from, starting with the infamous painting of Henry holding a rose and wearing the collar of the Order of the Golden Fleece, painted by an unknown Netherlandish artist between 1505 and 1509. We can see immediately that Henry appears to neither be thin or fat, but possibly athletic. He has a strong neck and a chiseled jaw. As stated before, this could be artistic flattery, but let us see how he looks as a man from this painting. Could this be Henry VII? We have two similar results showing a man that may very well have looked like the real Henry VII. He looks physically strong and near 50 years old, reflecting his portraits. If we bring this image to life, this may have been what King Henry VII looked like leading his men into battle. A fighting king. Pretty impressive, right? Now let's turn our attention to Henry VIII, the infamous son of Henry VII. Fortunately, we have numerous paintings to work from, but we'll focus on a particularly clear and well-known portrait. This painting, by an unknown artist and likely copied during Henry VIII's lifetime from a portrait by Hans Holbein the Younger, provides a detailed representation of the king. Our goal is to transform this painting into a highly realistic photograph. We aim to capture Henry VIII's distinctive features, his robust build, strong jawline, and characteristic expressions, while preserving the historical accuracy of his attire, including the intricate embroidery and accessories. By achieving a photorealistic quality, we seek to offer a vivid, lifelike glimpse into Henry VIII's appearance, reflecting both his imposing presence and his significant historical role. Henry VIII has produced interesting results. We have an image of an overweight king with flushed cheeks, his trademark ginger beard, and the finest clothing. Could this have been how Henry was seen by his people and wives all those years ago? Now let's see King Henry VIII in motion. I wonder what Henry is thinking. Has somebody just told him that Anne Boleyn is having secret music lessons with Mark Smeaton? The king does not look happy. After Henry VIII died in 1547, his only legitimate son, Edward VI, became king at just 9 years old. Edward's mother was Henry's third wife, Jane Seymour, who sadly passed away shortly after giving birth. As Edward was so young, his reign was heavily influenced by others, especially his uncle, Edward Seymour, who acted as Lord Protector. Edward VI is best known for pushing the Protestant Reformation forward in England. During his time as king, the Church of England moved further from Catholic traditions, introducing the Book of Common Prayer and holding services in English instead of Latin. Unfortunately, Edward was a frail child, and his health worsened over time. He died at just 15 years old in 1553, leading to a brief and chaotic battle over who would succeed him. Edward proves more of a challenge, as there are very few detailed images of him left in existence. However, we do have this clear painting to work with. The colors and details are vivid enough to give us a likeness. Here, we see a few clear images of how the boy king might have looked in real life, donning regal attire and sharing the red hair of his late father. Tragically, not long after this likeness was captured, Edward died at the tender age of just 15. Now let us look at how King Edward VI may have looked moving in real life. You can imagine the young king preparing to pose for his portrait here. He looks unwell. He couldn't have imagined his reign would be so short. Following the death of Edward VI in 1553, the young king's will named Lady Jane Grey as his successor. Jane, who was a Protestant and a great niece of Henry VIII, was proclaimed queen in an effort to prevent the return of Catholicism. Her brief reign lasted only 9 days, as she faced immediate resistance from those loyal to Mary Tudor, Edward's half-sister, and the legitimate heir. Mary Tudor, daughter of Henry VIII and Catherine of Aragon, quickly asserted her claim to the throne. Her supporters rallied against Jane's rule, and Mary was declared queen. Mary I's rule extended from 1553 until her death in 1558. During her reign, she pursued a rigorous campaign to reintroduce Catholic practices, which included the execution of numerous Protestant reformers, earning her the nickname Bloody Mary. Despite her efforts, her reign did not succeed in permanently restoring Catholicism in England, and her death left the throne in a state of transition. We will bring Mary I back to life using the famous 1554 portrait of Bloody Mary by Antonis More. This painting has always been unsettling, capturing Mary with a particularly sinister and ruthless expression. Even when reimagined in a more lifelike manner, Mary retains that same chilling and intense demeanor. As we gaze into the eyes of a tyrannical ruler who put fear into the hearts of many, we must now, of course, see Bloody Mary in motion. Imagine being called before this frantic lunatic to answer for your errors. You would be terrified, as indeed were most of England under her rule. After the challenging reign of Mary I, England welcomed a new era with the ascension of Elizabeth I in 1558. Elizabeth, the daughter of Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn, brought a sense of stability and a pragmatic approach to governance. Unlike her sister Mary, who sought to restore Catholicism through force, Elizabeth aimed to create a middle ground that would accommodate both Protestants and Catholics, thereby reducing religious conflict. Elizabeth's reign, known as the Elizabethan Era, is celebrated as a golden age in English history. Her sharp political acumen and strong leadership helped guide England through significant internal and external challenges. She established the Elizabethan religious settlement, a compromise that formed the basis for the Church of England and provided a stable religious framework. This settlement helped to quell religious strife and foster a more unified society. In foreign policy, Elizabeth skillfully managed England's relationships with other European powers, including Spain and France. Her support for Protestant rebels in the Netherlands and her decisive defeat of the Spanish Armada in 1588 were pivotal, enhancing England's position as a formidable maritime power. Given the wealth of portraits of Queen Elizabeth I, we have a rich array of references to explore her true appearance. We will examine various paintings created at different stages of her life and in diverse settings to gain a clearer understanding of her likeness. However, it's important to note that no one can be entirely certain of her exact appearance, as Elizabeth was known to be very self-conscious and used her portraits to project a specific image. What we see in these artworks represents what she aimed to portray rather than her everyday reality. To conclude our exploration of the Tudor era, we will now see Queen Elizabeth I in action. What better way to bring her to life than by witnessing her apply her renowned Venetian ceruse makeup, the lead-based cosmetic that defined her iconic look. Please comment below any suggestions for future content. If you love history as much as we do, then subscribe now so you don't miss out on our future videos.